Hi all, welcome to the Agile coaching series. Today's session is to how to establish team norms for a better collaboration and the best practices to achieve the business value with a quality product. It's basically a step towards a self-organized, self-managed and cohesive team. Basically, we need to bring a predictability and cohesiveness in the team response, how teams are responding to the different events, different ceremonies, different collaborative approaches. So there's supposed to be some uniformity. So for that, we need to establish certain behavioral norms, how they are responding to the specific events. So let's see how we can facilitate that. Before that, there are a few thoughts on the best practices and team norms. Why to establish best practices? It's like exploring the way of working which leads to the improvement in team interaction, which further leads to a quality of product and services. It also helps in collaboration. You know that lone genius cannot establish practices. If those needs to be adopted by everyone, those needs to be evolved through the mutual understanding of the team. People from the diverse background help each other to build a comprehensive best practices. That's why we need to arrange brainstorming session, process improvement session, where each and every one, all the members associated with that specific programs, Agile release train, all the shared role, all the stakeholders, they contribute how the collaboration should happen, what are the best practices, what's supposed to be the team norms for the interactions. While building a best practices, don't expect a sudden breakthrough. Yeah, it's true. Start building with incremental manner. When team might be coming up with many ideas, what are the behavioral norms, what are the best practices during the software development process. Those might be derived from the extreme programming practices. But initially, when we start a new program or we try to establish a new team on the existing program, existing Agile release train, we're supposed to select some set so that we can just start with and keep it evolving through the sprint retro or release retro or even the inspect and adopt ceremony at program level. Why team norms? So basically, when we are looking for self-organized and self-managed teams and programs, those needs to be supported by Agile principles and values. If we are going to adopt all the Agile principles and values, of course, we'll end up in achieving our goal, that is self-organized and self-managed team, which is picking up the work based on their capacity, have a good cohesion with the business and technical leadership, and can understand the business priorities. For that, we need all these four facets. How this has been supported by Agile values and principle. So the Agile manifesto says that individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Is of course processes tools must require, but at the same time, it has been individuals and interactions are more important. How we can achieve that? Just first, we need to establish certain team norms, like common behavioral patterns, how they are based on the Scrum values. Basically, those are like courage, focus, commitment, respect, and openness. How we can adopt the growth mindset. So we need to establish certain team norms which help us to adopt the growth mindset, and also it helps to improve the interactions. Then of course, another principle is at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. So we have the ceremonies like sprint retro. Through there, we can keep all these definition of ready, definition of done, best practices, team norms evolving. At the same time, we can also arrange like process improvement workshop. Through that, we can think like how we can mature all our definitions of done, ready, team norms, best practices evolving. Another Agile principle says business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. So definition of ready and definition of done helps in that context. It helps to build a common understanding. What is done means what exactly? What is the definition of done for the user story? The understanding of the business and understanding of the development team, all the members of the development team should be the same. Their DOR and DOD helps us a lot. it basically definition of done, if we consider definition of done, it helps to address risk, dependencies, impediments in the timely manner, and we can achieve the quality business value if it has been included in the DOD itself. Whatever the identified risks are achieved or not, are those been addressed or not, whatever the dependencies been with another team been resolved or how, so that it helps us in the integration of those stories in the multi-team environment. The best architecture requirements and design emerge from a self-organizing team. There are the best practices helps us, which help us to achieve our goal, that is self-organized and self-managed team. By best practices to make processes efficient, to improve productivity and turnaround time. So let's see the example from couple of team where we have facilitated the process improvement session and then basically brainstorming sessions, short brainstorming session, and achieved our goal. So this is the example from the one of the banking team where we established the team norms. So team come up with the Scrum Master basically facilitated this session along with the product owner, system integrator, system architect, and all the share role were there. And the team come up with the ideas, what are the ceremonies there, and then what's supposed to be the team norms. Be on time for a daily Scrum meeting. So be on time, be crisp while giving update, avoid side conversation, state name before giving update. Then for the core hour, that is basically meet after. Core hour agenda on daily basis is a dynamic one, and during Scrum, daily Scrum, team is to decide that what's supposed to happen in today's core hour. Call out demo or discussions review item during stand-up itself, so that if the certain story, the development is getting completed and definition of done is achieved for the story, they can demo immediately during that day's core hour rather than waiting for the formal sprint review. Peer review, test automation review, best practices, impediment discussions. So whatever the collaboration is required for that day's work, that's supposed to be identified in DSCM, and that collaboration can happen in the core hour. This is what the team has decided. Planning. So must review stories and acceptance criteria before planning. Plan the capacity before the planning. Then the grooming session. There are a couple of grooming sessions. One is feature grooming. Who's supposed to participate there? Product owner, system architect, and tech lead. And they used to invite ops also to present a product monitoring data to visualize the enhancement stories. So this is again the one of the team standards they established there, so that ops get involved at early stages and provide which features is going to be used more and what are the details there, so that team can plan along with the product owner enhancement with that specific workflow. 3 amigo grooming, that is basically to groom the why part. So product owner development test, and it used to happen twice a week. So they decided, they come up with a team norm that okay, it must happen on twice a week like that. Release planning, scope lock. So even though there are formal meetings, email should go with the scope lock. Code lock, email confirmation from the dev lead. DRB, defect review board daily during the, like once the scope lock happened, then code lock happens. So after the code lock, there is an integration testing phase where 2 to 3 teams get involved to test the integrated build. So during that phase, there is supposed to be a DRB on daily basis to discuss the defects and define the priority. Go no go meetings to be voted through Confluence once integration testing over. So this is for specific to this specific team who come up with the team norms. Different team can come up with different team norms based on their convenience basically. Then review, that is sprint review. Product owner or system integrator to provide context of the story, and developer or QA to start a demo. So before providing the demo, product owner or system integrator. So system integrator, the term was used with one of our client when they were transforming, transitioning their system from large scale Scrum to the scaled Agile. So it's basically a waterfall role, but they retained it in the large scale Scrum also. It's a techno-functional role. a sort of proxy product owner or business system analyst. Uh, then the observations, feedback from the stakeholders to be noted down by the PO and the product owner, and append a product backlog accordingly. So these are the team standards the team has come up through a brainstorming session. Let me give you one other example of TeamNorms. So this one, the previous one was, this is basically for the all the ceremonies and the common meetings, how the interaction should happen. The one listed here, that is the like a behavioral norms. So the Scrum Master arranged a session, team come up with all the ideas. So treat each other with dignity and respect, practice being open-minded, share the whiteboarding session with the pictures with the like entire team and attach them to Jira. So whenever they used to meet to the product owner or even the brainstorming session, 3 Amigo grooming session, so team used to do certain whiteboarding along with the solution or system architect, other team members, take leads from the another team, and you promise to come prepared to your meetings and projects so that you demonstrate value and respect for time and convenience of others. They also decided that when an issue is raised during testing or release, then product owner will make a call on the severity of the defect, and team developers, quality engineers, they will work together to resolve them. Listen first to understand and don't be dismissive of the input received when we listen. They also decided on just keep knowledge sharing. Then let's see what best practices the team had decided. Best practices mostly been based on the XP practices. So don't write code that you think you might need in future. If a block of commented code is going into a release, it shouldn't exist. Unit test, they decided, okay, try to cover as many paths as possible. If 100% coverage is not possible, then try to cover optimum level of possible permutations and combinations. Fail fast. Demo the story upon completion during sprint. No need to wait for the formal sprint review. Rigorous regular refactoring. Code readable and self-documenting through good naming practices. Shared code ownership. Basically, on daily basis, morning when people come in, they used to pull and through the Git, and then while going, they used to push the code so that everyone get the fresh code base. Adoption of Jenkins as a CI tool, a single coding standards to which all programmers should adhere. So they come up with the coding standards and they publish it on the Confluence, and everyone used to refer that. It became the part of definition of done also. A common war room like work area, sharing the code base between all and most programmers, like daily pull and push on Git. Review integration test with system integrator and pair working. Since system integrator is to deal with a multiple team, and pair working. Each dev story must have co-owner. So these all the best practices. These are just representational one, and these are the examples from the different team. You guys can come up this just to provide you some context so that you guys can come up with your own team standards. Thanks.